A lot has gone on in the past few days that I need to talk about. What is up, Finn fans? So in my last video, I asked you guys, do you guys want me to do my draft busts for the past 20 years, best and worst picks? Or do you guys want me to talk about the franchise tag players and update my free agency video? And a good amount of you guys wanted two first and then one. Some of you guys said do one first and then two can wait, or one could wait because it's draft picks. But, so I think if I did add all the numbers together, I think you guys actually wanted me to talk about franchise tag and my free agency update video today. But a lot has been going on. The Rams cut their linebacker. CJ Mosley isn't getting franchise tagged. A lot of people are being let go. It is absolutely crazy, to the point where I kind of don't want to talk about it yet, and I kind of want to see where things pan out Friday. Even the weekend is going to get crazy, where I might make my part 3 video on my free agency video on Monday. So I know I asked you guys, and I take your guys, what you have to say to heart, and I listen, but a lot is going on, and I think it would be best if I waited till Friday to do franchise tag and update my free agency, and then also Monday or Tuesday I'm going to also update my free agency again, because next Wednesday is free agency. Crazy time. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. So what I'm doing is this video, I'm going to give you my best and worst draft picks from the Miami Dolphins within the past 20 years. So from 1999 till now. So I have a criteria, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing. So it has to be a first or second round pick, just because there's a lot. There's some gems that we got: Lamar Miller, Kenyon Drake, Olivier Vernon. There's also a lot of busts when it comes to later picks. So it's first or second pick, and I have 5. I got 5 busts or 5 bad draft picks. And this is my opinion. So there's 5 bad draft picks and there's 5 good ones. Now, I'm going to start with the 5 bad ones, and I also have some honorable mentions. So without further ado, let's jump into this shiznit real quick. So I'm going to start with the draft busts. Worst draft picks the Miami Dolphins had in the past 20 years. 5 to 1, 1 being the worst, 5 being not as bad, but kind of bad. Let me throw in some honorable mentions. Now, you got Pat White. Everyone hated on Pat White. Pat White was an experiment, and the reason why Pat White is an honorable mention is, 1, again, he was an experiment. 2, the other second round pick we got with Pat White was Sean Smith, who was a very, very good corner. So that's why I was like, Pat White, you didn't get a fair shakedown. You also should have never been drafted. Also, you were an experiment, so you're bad, but you're not as bad as some of the other people I got on this list. And also Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker, it's still kind of new. Also, he's just completely injury prone. And when he plays, he's actually pretty good. The only thing is he can't get on the friggin' field. So that's the reason why Pat White and Devontae Parker are honorable mentions. Let's jump right into it with number 5, 2007. We're going back 8 years, 2007, with the 9th overall pick. Can you guys guess who I'm about to say? Ted Ginn Jr. Now, he's one of the worst draft picks for the Miami Dolphins. He has a very reasonable and good career as an NFL wide receiver, but as a Miami Dolphin, garbage. Hot ass garbage. I remember on kick returns, he did win us that one Jets game, but I remember on kick returns, he'd run to the sidelines. He was afraid to get hit. He was like a frail little thing. And the thing that killed a lot of people too is, like, we're sitting there at 8, and all of a sudden Brady Quinn doesn't get drafted, and all of a sudden 9 pops up, and all of a sudden we're like, we're going to take Brady Quinn. And Cam Cameron we picked Ted Ginn Jr. I remember I was like, who? What? Like, you're taking a kick return? You're a kick returner with the 9th pick? And, a family friend of ours, da, 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 da. So number 5 is Ted Ginn Jr. Number 4, 2006, the 16th pick, Nick Saban. Nick Saban's picking this guy. He's going to do really well for us. Great guy, Jason Allen. The dude had constant hip problems, barely played on the field, barely did anything for the Dolphins. So the fact that he was the 16th pick in the first round from Nick Saban, too, the guy who picked Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees and also left us high and tight. Jason Allen is number 4. So number 3, it came down to Pat White and this fella, 2007. He was a second-round pick. You guys guess who I'm going to be talking about? You got John Beck. John Beck was a horrible draft pick. He's not in the league anymore, so that tells you how bad he is. At least Chad Henne's still in the league. And he was part of the 1 of 15 team. He was just god-awful. Just god-awful. So that's all I really need to say about that and say about John Beck. But again, it was between John Beck and Pat White. And I feel like the reason I didn't put Pat White where John Beck was is because he was an experiment. And we got Sean Smith with the other second-round pick. So kind of like, it wasn't too bad. So number 2. Who could be the number 2 horrible draft pick for the Miami Dolphins? It's one of 2 names. So if I say the one, you're going to know who the other is. If I say the other, you're going to know who the one is. 2012, second round pick with the 42nd pick. Jonathan Martin. Jonathan Martin. He single-handedly ruined a very good offensive line we had. He single-handedly took Incognito away from this team. Incognito would have still been on the Dolphins if it wasn't for Jonathan Martin, his stupid bully gate, and just completely just disrupting this team. Like, seriously, dude? Like, and now he's like going on Instagram and going on social media threatening to kill people, buying shotguns, all this stuff. Jonathan Martin barely saw the field, and when he did, he wasn't mentally capable of playing football. He wasn't mentally tough to play football. He wasn't mentally there to play football. So, Jonathan Martin, you're number 2 on the worst draft picks for the Miami Dolphins in the past 20 years. Number 1. You guys already know who number 1 is, but I'm gonna jazz it up for you. Number 1. This man, we traded up for. We didn't give much up though, because I remember when we traded up. I thought we were going to take the guy who just got a contract extension from the Philadelphia Eagles. Thought we were going to take Lane Johnson, but we didn't. I was watching the draft with my friend who is an Eagles fan, and when we jumped over the Eagles by trading with the Oakland Raiders, and we went from 12 to 3, and I think we only gave up like a second-round pick. We didn't give much up, so like the Oakland Raiders dumb as rocks. But we jumped up, and I was like so pumped. I'm like, great, we're taking Lane Johnson. We need the offensive lineman. Screw you, Eagles. You can take whoever you want, da-da-da-da. But the reason we jumped over the Eagles and the reason we jumped over Chip Kelly is because we took Deion Jordan with the 3rd pick. Reason why he is number 1 with the worst picks in Dolphins history is because we traded up for him. And he's just hot garbage. He's still in the league. He's with the Seahawks. He's not doing bad with the Seahawks. He's doing way better with the Seahawks than he's doing with the Miami Dolphins. One thing Deion Jordan did do well, though, is cover Rob Gronkowski. So if you know anything about that, yeah, he did that very well. But other than that, he was a complete bust. Bustosaurus Rex. He was horrible. And we traded up for him. We jumped over the Philadelphia Eagles, didn't take Lane Johnson, who I friggin' wanted, because we thought Chip Kelly was going to take his dude, Deion Jordan, from the Oregon. No. That's not what happened. We took him, and he sucked. So those are my 5 worst draft picks in the past 20 years. There's been, if you think there's been worse, like I always tell you guys to comment below, but those I think are the top 5 worst because there was like barely any production of Deion Jordan, Jonathan Martin, John Beck, Jason Allen. Ted Ginn is, the reason he's 5, I was actually going to put him with honorable mention and put Devontae Parker there. It was like between him and Devontae Parker, which in hindsight I probably should have put Devontae Parker there, but he's still kind of new. Ted Ginn is doing great in the league. He's got a good career, so that's why he's 5. Now let's get to the best. You guys want to know who I think are the best draft picks the Dolphins have had in the past 20 years. Now, some of these names you're going to probably disagree with. For me, it was harder to pick the best 5. It was easier for me to kind of pick the worst. There was like 2 or 3 that I had a hard time putting in the top 5. But with the best 5, that was the hardest. I got a good amount of honorable mentions. So let me talk about the honorable mentions. Some of them you might get mad at. I think 1 name on here, 2 names on here, you're going to be like, you want to throw them in honorable mention, but I'll explain it when I get there. So honorable mention, Sean Smith. He was a very good corner. He was a very good corner for the Dolphins. He was a very good corner with the Chiefs. You know, he's a good corner. He's a good, solid corner. We got him with a 2nd round pick, a late 2nd round pick. That's a good one. Jake Long. I can hear it already. So a lot of guys are like, we took Jake Long over Matt Ryan. Jake Long was a good tackle for us, a good left tackle for us. He was part of a good offensive line at one point. So Jake Long, again, he's honorable mention. He's not top 5. I don't even tell you where in the honorable mention list he is. And I'm going to say his name, but as much as you hate him, and as much as you think he sucks, he wasn't that bad. Ryan Tannehill. I can already feel the hate just flying at the computer screen right now. Ryan Tannehill is an honorable mention as one of the best draft picks in the past 20 years, because not only 1990, there was like 3 or 4 years we didn't have a 1st round draft pick. Look at the other quarterbacks: Chad Henne, Pat White, John Beck, Jay Fiedler, Trent Green. Look at all these other quarterbacks we've had since Dan Marino. You're honestly going to tell me that Ryan Tannehill is garbage? He's like the worst quarterback ever? No. Is he great? No. Is he bad? No. He's a good quarterback, but he's just not good enough. So he gets honorable mention. He wasn't a bad draft pick. Not at all. I don't think so. So now let's get into the fat. Let's get into the meat of it. Number 5 for me. Number 5, 2011, 15th round pick. Twin brother, plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You already know, Mike Pouncey. Now, Mike Pouncey left the Dolphins last offseason, went to the Chargers, played a full season, showed us all that he's still healthy and we're a bunch of assholes. When he left, I said Kilgore was an upgrade. Didn't think Mike Pouncey make it through the year. He made it through the year. This dude's a Pro Bowler. This dude is a great center, was a great center for the Dolphins. Part of the Unicorns, helped friggin' Juwan James get his 200-yard game, and his, Mike Pouncey is a good center, and for us to get him and have him for as long as we did, got to give the dude credit. Number 4, this is still fairly new. Actually, some of these guys on here are fairly new. Number 4 for me, and the reason why this is number 4 and why he's even on the top 5 of best draft picks in the past 20 years, Laramie Tunsil. Laramie Tunsil was graded top 3 prospect in the 2016 NFL draft. They had him going 1, 2, or 3. That picture with him wearing that gas mask with the bong attached to it and him dropping to us at 13 was a blessing. Now, some of you guys might hate him. Some of you guys might think he's a shit left tackle, which if you do, why do you think? Why? He's not at all. I don't think he gave up 1 sack this past season, or maybe it was only 1 sack this past season. Laramie Tunsil, the fact that we got him at 13 and the fact that he's playing as great as he is, he's a top 5 draft pick. Again, I'm also not talking about this year's draft. It's too new to grade this year's draft. I just want to throw that in there real quick. Not grading this year's draft. Number 3, 2009 late draft pick, because we went to the playoffs and we won the division. Yeah, I just high-fived all the Dolphin fans. If you're not a Dolphin, you're watching this, you're a Patriot fan. How you doing? Vontae Davis. He was a really good corner for the Dolphins. It just so happened that one year he came to camp overweight, seemed disinterested, got traded on Hard Knocks, asked to call his mom, and it ended up playing actually really well with the Colts. I remember I said, I made the video, do they play better elsewhere? And I said he didn't because his best year was with the Dolphins. It was, but it still doesn't take away from the fact he played really well with the Colts. So Vontae Davis is number 3. Number 2, same draft as Laramie Tunsil. I think the 2016 draft was actually a really good one. Xavier Howard. Now, this dude needs to get paid. If it's not from us, it'll be from someone else. 7 interceptions last year. playing really well. You know, he's got a banged up knee. Hopefully he rehabs it. Hopefully this offseason he really puts a lot of work into it, makes it better. But you guys got to admit, Xavier Howard, getting him in the second, especially when we didn't need a cornerback, was a great move. Very great move for the Dolphins, and a great move to pick him. 38th pick. Xavier Howard, 2016, number 2. The number 1 best pick in my eyes for the past 20 years. Again, first or second rounder. For me, it's bittersweet because he's not with the team anymore. 2014, second round pick, Jarvis Landry. Now, it sucks because he's not with the team anymore. And you guys might disagree. Again, I'll talk about that afterwards. But we took him when we didn't need a wide receiver. I remember when we drafted him in the second round, I was like, isn't that Odell's partner in crime at LSU? All right, cool. All right, I don't hate it. You know, it's a good pickup. And then he just showed how great he is, how the rack yards, all that stuff. So Jarvis Landry is number 1. You could disagree. I hope you guys disagree. If you don't disagree, cool, because that means that I know what I'm talking about. But comment below. Let me know what you think of my 5 worst and my 5 best. Also, let me know what you think of my honorable mentions. I expect you guys to have a difference of opinion. I expect you guys to have a different order. Let me know what you think about my picks. If you like what I picked, if you think like your top 5 are good, I would just have them in a different order. It's reasonable. Or I would do it this 5 and you forgot about so-and-so and this and that, all that jazz. Also, I did the past 20 years because a video a while back I asked when, and a good 60 to 70% of you guys said do it from 1999, do it the past 20 years. So that's why I did the way I did. So comment below, let me know what you guys think of my 5 best, my 5 worst, and my honorable mention. And now let me get to your guys' comment of the day. And this one comes from George. And George asks me, Cashley says Kyler Murray didn't perform well at the Colts. Could not read the article, some kind of glitch. So what he's essentially getting at is Charlie Cashley reported that Kyler Murray, when he had one-on-one interviews and he did board work, essentially drawing plays on the board and going through film study and all that stuff, did absolutely horrible. So essentially it just, you're getting the feeling that Kyler Murray, his attitude towards the game, like the more I'm hearing from Kyler Murray and the more I'm seeing Kyler Murray's tape, not tape, but more like his interviews and stuff, I'm getting a bad feeling about Kyler Murray, and I'm getting a bad feeling that he doesn't have the heart to play football, and he doesn't want to play football, but football will get him the most money. Now, he had a choice between baseball and football. And the Oakland A's, I think, signed $3 million or something, and he gave him back the check and then wrote him a check for $1.5 million to cover what they paid him, because in the NFL he's going to get $15 million guaranteed where he gets drafted. I have a fear that Kyler Murray is more about the money and more about the fame of football than he is about playing it and loving the game, just because of the way he is doing on just a lot of what's coming out about how he's performing with teams when it comes to film study and board work and interviews and taking the tests and his heart and stuff. I don't know. It's hard to predict it. I don't know about Kyler Murray. I need to, we'll see more that comes out as the process goes on, but this is the stuff that can start damaging draft picks. The pictures that Tunsil had to deal with can be damaging, but also these types of news that come out, especially about Kyler Murray, can be damaging, because not only do you have to deal with his height and his size and stuff, but now all of a sudden you get the feeling that he doesn't have the heart in the game. It's I don't know, maybe he won't go first. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But be sure to follow me on Twitter. Here comes the spiel. I tweet out things every day, especially so much stuff is happening. Like I told you guys before I made this video, I was going to make today's video because all you guys wanted today to be the franchise tag, an updated video on my free agency. But Eric Weddle gets cut, CJ Mosley gets cut. The Ravens really want Tyrann Mathieu, and all this stuff is starting to come out, and it's going to come out even more. So Friday is going to be the video of who got franchise tag, who didn't. And also my updated who I want the Dolphins to target in free agency video. And also I'm going to do another one on Monday or Tuesday before free agency because more shit's going to happen. Also, I think this weekend we're going to hear more about who's getting signed with what, so maybe I won't. But be sure to go check out my second channel, The Bit Boys. We're almost at 400 subs. I think we're like 49 away. So if you like that stuff, if you like those video games, go over, check it out, subscribe. It means a lot to me. Give this video a thumbs up because this was fun. Going back in time, I actually noticed that we had a good amount of draft picks in the first, second round. We actually had a good amount of draft picks in general. I think the Xavier Howard year, and there's one year, I think 2016, it's probably one of our best draft years. So give this video a thumbs up for that. Give it a thumbs up because holy moly, the past few days, like I said, are crazy. CJ Mosley, the linebacker from the Rams, Eric Weddle. People are getting cut. People are getting re-signed. Lane Johnson just got re-signed for more money, but to save cap space. Lots of stuff is going to happen, so be sure to subscribe. I'm going to try to get these videos out to you as soon as possible. If it's something quick that I think needs to be out ASAP, you're going to get straight camera footage, straight phone footage, which means not cool editing like this, but I want to get stuff to you as soon as possible so you can hear it from me. But other than that, I will see you guys Friday with my updated free agency list and who got tagged, who didn't get tagged. There might be more added to that. So I will see you guys Friday, but like usual, stay classy. Fans up.